back to Empower In. My name is Carolyn Thomas. Thank you so much for watching. So I have a video request from somebody who wishes to remain anonymous, but I'm going to read you the email that she sent me. Can you make a video on how to deal with rude or hard to deal with patients and their families? I'm a new nurse with less than 6 months of experience, and I had a very hard time dealing with a patient, and my best wasn't enough. I worked middle of the shift and had to take more patients during the night. I did my best to explain to him that I would be there as soon as I could. This patient made me so frustrated and I actually cried. I felt the need to explain myself, but it didn't really work. I was kind of hurt because my patient made me look like a bad nurse in front of his family, who also ganged up on me. I didn't have any problems with him earlier that day. He was very pleasant before then. Also, it may have been my communication skills. Any tips would help. Thanks so much for all your videos. So I really like this video request because I feel like this is something that needs to be discussed. It's something that needs to be discussed in a positive light. So I would like to share some tips with you that I do that helps me really stay balanced and grounded on the job. Really, no matter what happened. You are so out of control with a lot of the things that happen. I wish we were in control with everything that happens and we could have things work out the way we wanted them to. But you will see on the job that there's so many things that, you just don't have control over. And you could get assigned to a patient that has had a lot of things happen, and all of a sudden, you're getting a lot of anger unleashed on you. So how do you separate yourself emotionally from that? There's two things that I initially say to myself as soon as I get a complaint, whether it's a complaint about me directly to me, or it's a complaint about another nurse or a doctor or anything. First thing that I say to myself is, one, this is not about me. Saying this helps me understand what my patient really needs, or what my patient's family members need right now at this moment, because it helps me put my emotions aside. And I just want to note, I do say this to myself no matter what they say to me. Like if somebody comes up to me and says, literally points a finger, you're the worst nurse, you're a bad person, you're this, you're that, the first thing I say, this isn't about me. Because most likely my patient is in pain, or they're feeling out of control, or they've had a really bad experience with somebody else, or they're just frustrated about their situation, but ultimately it's not about me. But I think it's really important every time this happens to reinforce to yourself, this isn't about you. So I say this to myself. So as soon as somebody comes to me and starts complaining, that's the first thing that I do. And I don't know why, but it really helps me relax. It helps me relax and it helps me focus on the words they're saying and trying to figure out exactly what they need. The second thing that I say to myself is, this begins and it ends with me. I say this because I know a lot of nurses, as soon as a complaint comes up or as soon as something happens, they're running around trying to get the charge nurse or trying to get other people involved. And let me tell you, it takes just as much energy to try to get the charge nurse involved or the supervisor involved and to explain the situation properly. And you could be using that same time to figure out how to solve the situation yourself. So that's another thing that I say to myself, and it helps me figure out a way to make it work. The next thing that I do after I have fully listened to what the complaint is, and if it's a complaint about me taking too long or me doing something wrong or me not, whatever it is, all I say is, I'm really sorry that that happened, but what can I do now? Now I want to tell you right now that you have to be really, really, really careful about how you say this, because what you say, the words you say, are literally 5 to 10% of what the person hears. So if I say, I'm sorry, what can I do now? Or I'm sorry, but what can I do now? Or I'm sorry, what can I do now? I mean, can you just see the difference? So you have to be really, really careful with how you say things. So what I usually do is I watch myself. Now obviously I can't physically watch every part of my body, but I watch my eyes, I watch my posture, I watch my breathing, I watch my face. What I usually try to do is kind of go down and just really look at them pretty intensely, not too intense, but I really just try to make sure I'm congruent when I say, what can I do right now? So just be really careful, but when you do that, they know that you're really willing to take care of the situation right then and right there. So let's say that your patient was calling for pain medication. So I say, I figure out that they want pain medication. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna medicate them. And then if they're still complaining, you know, this was late, that was late, my bed wasn't made today, this wasn't done. So I just say, again, you know, all right, I'm really sorry about that, but what can I do right now? You know, at first they might not verbalize or show that they appreciate this, but I'm telling you, like if you say that and then you take care of whatever they ask you to take care of, then it makes a big difference. So the last thing that I do, and then I'm going to share a story of a situation, but I'll tell you how I dealt with it, is I work really hard, and I work really hard to make sure that I do the best that I can do, and it's not for anybody else except my own selfish reasons, so that I can sleep well at night. Because there's going to be so many things on the job that you have no control over, and as long as I know that I did my best, then it'll help me go to sleep with a clear conscience. So I just want you guys to know, no matter who you are or the best communication skills that you have or the best nurse you are, it's almost inevitable that patients and their family members will sometimes complain about you. And I don't know of any nurse that has not had anybody complain about them. So if you haven't, then go you. I'm sure there's at least 1 or 2 nurses in the world, but it really is just almost inevitable. So let me just tell you one thing that did happen to me. One time I was taking care of a patient who had a really hard time swallowing, and he had pneumonia several times. I had his tray really far away from him. I had his bedside table all the way against the end of the wall. I don't know how it happened, but somehow the patient ended up with the tray in front of him. I don't know if it was a nursing assistant that put it there. I don't know, it could have been a doctor that put it there. It could have been the food service, but somehow the tray got in front of him. So the daughter comes up to the desk and she's crying and she's saying, you know, this is just complete neglect, and you know, I cannot believe that he got the tray. And so I said the same things to myself. I said, this is not about me. What's the problem here? She's worried about her father. If he gets pneumonia again, pneumonia in a lot of patients is deadly. So she has a real big concern. She's not upset at me, she's scared. So me being able to understand what her problem is, I can deal with the problem. So the next question, this begins and it ends with me. So in this particular situation, I did everything that I usually do, and that is I dealt with it as best as possible by putting the signs by the door, and by putting notes on his chart, and by calling food service and actually putting that order in the kitchen. So I did as best as I could. The next day I got a call from, I don't know who it was, patient safety officer, or I don't know, customer relations or something like that. And basically, despite everything that I did, she decided to call the number that's on the board and complained about me. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because you're going to have times when you do absolutely everything that you can. But as long as you know that, that's it. So I got the call and it's like, okay, you know, that's fine. I'll work harder to make sure it doesn't happen again. So again, just let things begin and end with you. And just remember, work really hard to make sure that your conscience is clear, so that when you do get people that complain about you or say that you're not doing your best or that you're not a good nurse, you know deep down inside that you are doing your best. You're not perfect, nobody is, and you could do better many times, but as long as you keep trying, that's in the end what matters. So guys, I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and post a comment, let me know. And I cannot wait to see you again soon. Love you. Bye.